Hey rock and rollers, it's Brad Cook here. I'm really excited to announce I've got a couple of gig dates. May the 2nd and June the 6th. Put them in your calendar and I'll keep you up to date here on my page with all the details of the gig and the bands that will be playing on the night. 2026 is looking like it's going to be a real rocking year for my band, and I can't wait to see you guys out there real soon. And hopefully by the end of the year, some new music. Rock and roll, guys. Peace.
It's time to rock. Welcome to the channel, folks. Welcome to the Three Hombres. Tres Hombres, Simon, or something like that.
Tres Hombres. Tres Hombres.
Had to say that because it's a bit of a Texas thing, isn't it, Brad?
Oh, yeah. Bit of a Texas theme today.
How.
Speaking of Texas things, did you guys get the video there? We've got a Melbourne thing going on and somewhere.
Yeah, there's some things in the pipe works. So yeah, looking at a few gig dates coming up, and also trying to work on a few supports and things like that for some artists. So it'll be good. I'm looking forward to getting back out there, and I'm feeling a bit more prepared and a bit better oiled up and ready to go, so to speak. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
Well done, bro. And obviously we'll keep people alerted from our perspective. Excuse me, from our perspective here.
Yeah, thank you.
Check out Brad on Instagram at Brad Cook Music. Easy peasy Japanesey. There it is there. Easy. Brad Cook Music. And while you're there, go and follow the Rock Professor at Simon Williams 33. And another good friend of ours, John ZD351 Music, is over there too. So go and check those three cats out. And we'll obviously be talking to Brad during the course of these shows, Simon, when we get some information, won't we?
We will. Yes, looking forward to it. And the question is there going to be new music too for the Maestro?
Yeah. Well, the idea is to get out and play some gigs with the band, get us match ready, so to speak, and obviously maybe throw in a few new tracks along the way when we're playing live, and maybe look at recording, sort of mid-year with the band, sort of have a few gigs under its belt, and feeling a bit more, and a fair few rehearsals under its belt, so to speak, and get in and do a bit of recording, so it should be fun.
Match fit. Sounds good.
Match fit. Like that.
Yeah.
We got some cool cats in the chat too who'll be obviously watching with interest. Our good friend John ZD351 will definitely be there giving you a hand, I'm sure, bro.
Well, he was he was there at the first one, but I'm sure he'll I don't necessarily need him there to help lug, but any help he can give me, that's great. But more the fact that I'd love him just to turn up and have fun. That's the main point,
He needs adulation, John.
Adulation. Yeah, that's right.
Before we go any further, just quickly, I don't know if you noticed that Stones Forever has gifted us $16.99 of the New Zealand dollars, which is incredibly nice of him. Ages ago, like 5 hours ago.
And I think I know who that is. So thank you. Well, I think I might. It's one of two people that we might know. It's either Richard or Carl. So thank you.
Well, thank you to both either who donated to that. It's really nice of you. Thank you very much. Mr. Walton is off to the beach for a week on the proceeds.
I'll buy a pie.
Yeah.
Pie. The
Buy
famous
buy a
New
pie.
Zealand pie. Don't
You
start
got it,
that.
mate.
Yeah.
No, we're looking
Cookery
forward
program.
to keeping folks up to play with what's happening there. Obviously, it's a key thing. So thank you, Brad, for allowing us to put that on the channel, bro, and letting people know where you are and what you're doing.
Thanks, Andrew.
So we've got we've got a great show lined up. Obviously, this week. Last week's show was an incredible show. If you haven't watched it, please go and check it. I've had a couple of conversations with people about that our album, Simon in the Flesh. So it's always good when people come up to you and talk to you and sort of, make a conversation about that album, having some kind of significance for them. So we do appreciate that. And obviously, Brad, if the same thing can be said about this album that we're going to be talking about. So, yeah, we look forward to doing that. But Simon, we're going to be doing something a little bit different next week, aren't we? Hopefully, we're going to be coming back talking to you guys about the new Paul McCartney documentary that's been dropped. So we're going to confirm that later on this evening. We'll do a show card. We'll either be coming back next week talking about that, or we'll be talking about an album. So hit that notification button, because we've got a couple of things we've got to check to see whether or not we can actually do that. Does that make sense?
It does.
It does make sense. It's clear as mud, Andrew. Clear as mud.
Clear as mud. Yeah. So go and check it out. It's on Amazon Prime, as far as I know, around the world. So and Paul McCartney is a big part of what we do here on this channel. One of the sole surviving Beatles.
Yeah.
We've seen Paul McCartney live. Brad, you've seen him live recently. Just a huge part of our lives growing up. That guy, in the Beatles, and obviously with Wings, which is what this documentary is about, and also his solo career, Simon. So, he's been there and done that, hasn't he, Simon?
He's been there and done it twice. Yeah, I think it's been really interesting actually that to cover his solo career and what he did afterwards, because there's a lot of twists and turns in that, a lot of things. So I think there's a good story there, and hopefully they brought it out in this documentary. That would be good.
Yeah,
I read one review briefly, and they talk about the bad things. They talk about the drug bust in Japan, which is good. Which I completely forgot about until I read the review. So they talk about. So I'll be interested myself to see what they have to say about that. And they also
you have to say, Dave, in retrospect, busted for a bit of dope. Wow, man, that's heavy.
No, it was quite a bit he had. It was quite a bit.
Yeah, but I know. Yeah, but it's like looking back at it, and you think, really.
Yeah,
him and millions of other musicians with places in their telecasters they could smuggle dope through and stuff.
I remember seeing photographs of the bag, and it was like a
substantial handful.
Yeah. It was a big amount. You'd probably get bloody locked if you brought that kind of stuff in. Now they'll do you if you bring that into Aussie, Brad, or to New Zealand. You're done.
Good night.
Good night.
They're going to get upset with you about that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So apparently they talk about that, and they also talk obviously about his relationship with John. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So we'll watch that, and hopefully at some stage, maybe next week, talk about that. Simon, we got a couple of people in the chat. Is it worth doing a shout out to the 3 or 4 cats watching with us?
Yes, we've got John ZD351, Bonnie John, and we've got Johnny Heartbreaker as well. They're the only two who made a comment.
We're the few lurkers, guys. We can see you. We know who you are. Come with
we don't.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Also, on just quickly on the Beatles side of things, happy birthday, George Harrison. This week was his birthday. So, happy heavenly birthday.
Yeah.
Big
80.
part of the channel as well.
He would have been 82, 83.
Yes. 80. I can't remember now. But
83.
Yeah,
I should know. I did a post.
Could we say your posting is tremendous, Andrew? Blimey, it's a veritable waterfall of posts of pictures and stuff. It's really great.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I enjoy doing it. And obviously we keep it within our wheelhouse too, which is good, you know. So, you know, and you know, and it's just what we do here on this part of YouTube universe. So we do look forward to sharing more as we move forward. So Brad, you picked this incredible album, bro. And we've got a couple of things, obviously, we want to say about this album before we rank the track. So I suppose you better pull finger and give us the introduction so that we can all pull finger and talk about this great album. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it sounds great. I mean, look, when I look at Soul to Soul by Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, I don't hear just another blues record. I hear like the band at a real crossroads. Obviously, this album came out in September 1985 after Texas flood and couldn't stand the weather, had already blown the doors open. They were touring nonstop. MTV was pushing them. Crowds were getting bigger. But behind the scenes, they were running on fumes. They were getting tired. They've been, you know, they went into the Dallas Sound Lab absolutely exhausted. And you can kind of feel it in this recording. They were trying to capture the live energy. Amps cranked, PAs set up, everything in the room. No headphones, just volume and vibe. I think Stevie Ray's rig was so loud that, you know, their piano player, Reese, his parts, he couldn't actually record them properly. He had to sort of do them isolated because they were disappearing in the mix. You know, that's why Reese ended up opting for the Hammond organ quite a bit within the recording. There's a big part of the sound as well, having Reese added to the band. They were saying, you know, nothing could actually cut through Stevie's wall of amps. I mean, it was a hybrid wall of amps, but the bigger thing is substance abuse at this time. I think Coke and the Crown Royal was everywhere. Tommy Shannon and Stevie were deep in it. And when you know that, you can actually hear it. There's brilliance on this record, but there's also tension, there's fire, and it's not always controlled. To keep the sessions moving, Stevie pulled in reinforcements from the Texas blues scene and the community. He got Joe Sublett on bass, saxophone, saxophone, and give it that sort of Memphis sort of style and punch. Dole Bramall was brought in to help bring in fresh material. Ideas were kind of running thin. They obviously couldn't come up with a lot. I think, you know, the exhaustion and the abuse was setting in. And recent Winans ended up becoming way more than a session guy. Stevie actually asked him to join the band permanently during these sessions, which was a bit of a surprise to, you know, Tommy and Chris. But that tells them where the band was at, and they needed some new energy. And I believe Reese brought a completely new energy to the band as well. Only 4 songs on the record were Stevie originals. The rest were covers. That tells you a lot. You know, maybe the tank was running low creatively. But, you know, interpreting someone else's song the way he did, it still sounds like Stevie. That right hand, the vocal phrasing, it's unmistakably Stevie Ray Vaughan. Commercially, it didn't hit what the previous two records had done, but artistically, it's fascinating in my opinion. It's a snapshot of a band stretching out sonically, adding organ, saxophone, piano, and pushing a deeper soul territory as well. While things were still starting to crack in the background, they managed to get a pretty good album out there. And knowing that, and especially what came next after rehab and recovering, eventually the Instep album feels like the sound of a storm. The sound of a storm before the calm. You know what I mean? It's a blues rocker. I love the record. It's not perfect, and I love it for that reason. It's human. It's loud. It's soulful. It's searching, and it's Stevie fighting through it, soul to soul. That's all I can really say about it, guys. I mean, we were talking in the green room, and I know you guys had a few things to say about it. Anything you guys want to add? Andrew, Simon?
Simon, because you're going second, I'll be keen to hear what you have to say.
Well, yeah. I mean, my perspective is different to you guys because I've not heard this before. So I've come at it fresh this week. And I was saying to the guys in the green room before we started, my summing up would be difficult third album. And clearly I'm right about that. Clearly it comes out in the in the songs and what they are and what they're not and things. I think, is this the first album with Reese Winans on it? It is, isn't it? It is the first one with him on it.
Yep.
So I think that's a great addition to the band. I think it gives it a different dynamic. But as you say, some of the songs feel a bit half baked. Some of them feel a bit quite know what they're doing really. You know, they sort of feel half finished to me. Particularly that, you know, I mean, clearly the instrumentals are, and we could discuss that more as we get into it. But yeah, it did feel like to me as though it was a difficult third album in a way that the first two, you know, the first one takes you, 20 years to write. The second one takes you 20 minutes to write because you're pushed into doing a second one. But by the third one, the material that you probably got, Morning Hugh, you've got stashed in your lockers, then you have to come up with new stuff, don't you? And that can be difficult for bands for sure. It could be positive. I mean, there's plenty of third albums which are bands' breakthrough albums, but this didn't feel like that to me. Andrew?
Yeah, I think, Simon, you've got the luxury of 30 or 40 years of, of understanding, what that process is with Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean that respectfully, which is a good thing. I certainly remember buying this album, lighting up to buy it and taking it home and listening to it and being blown away and captivated by it, guys. There are a couple of tracks on this album that are absolutely amazing. There's a couple of tracks which are okay, and I haven't heard them, Brad, for a long time, and I'm a Stevie Ray Vaughan nut, so I really, really appreciate the fact that you've picked this album, because my initial thoughts about these songs when I first heard it, when it was released 40 odd years ago, on those tracks have still remained the same. But my affection for other songs, Simon, have grown deeper and deeper, mainly because I've listened to those songs lots and lots of times, because they were on playlists and they become second nature to you. And I didn't know anything about the Struggles. None of us did. It wasn't until the live album the year later, Brad, Live Alive. What was that album? Live Alive, that came out in 1986. That they were reporting the issues that the band were having, with addictions and stuff like that. And you sort of kind of put things together and went, oh, okay. So that's why maybe some of those songs on this album, Simon, don't sound as polished as they maybe could have been, because now there's a kind of a reason why. And I like that, But when you look back at at the legacy and the history, that this band has given us. And don't we love it? Don't we love the fact that these guys lived the life? Didn't there was no, there was no like I'm just living in my bedroom studio with this album or this band, Brad. Getting 8,000 million followers, over producing my guitar riffs from my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a bit of a dig at modern guitar players. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. We're always about encouraging people here on this channel.
That's
but
right.
You get the point, though. These guys lived the life, and so I look forward to talking to you guys about these tracks. I'll never forget the first time Brad and I were having a conversation about Stevie Ray Vaughan 5 years ago. We were talking about this on the channel, and I remember, we both freaked out, when we spoke about how these guys in the band, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Tommy, they would wear their stage gear, and it got to the point where they were just wearing their stage gear Simon all the time. And they'd go to bars and clubs and all that, and then walk through a mall to go and get a coffee, and people were looking at these guys with peacock feathers in their hats, Brad, and
right.
and looking like what's going on here. But they didn't give a shit.
You mean so they couldn't separate? They didn't separate their performing selves with their real selves. Oh.
No, because it took too much time, you see.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I always think of all the best artists. Really, they have a stage persona, and they put it on. They go out and perform, and then they get off, and then they go back to being the real them, kind of thing. And they are, it's a bit like Vincent Furnier puts on the mask of Alice Cooper, goes out and performs, gets off, and becomes Vincent Furnier again, kind of thing.
Hey, Susan, long time
Morning,
no see.
Susan. How are you? Yeah, good to see you. Hope you're well.
Yeah.
Hey,
Susan.
Yeah. So I feel like Joe Bonamassa talks about as the guy in the suit and the sunglasses.
Yeah.
And then that's Joe Bonamassa, the performer, as opposed to Joe Bonamassa, the bloke, not the performer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you didn't get that with that band there for a while. You got it all. So yeah, I do look forward to talking to everybody about this album. We got Jim's jumped in, so good to see you. Yeah. So we know that there's a lot of cats watching that are Stevie Ray Vaughan fans. We know beyond any doubt that Hugh is. We know John is. We know that Jim is.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, who isn't? Who isn't a fan of Stevie Ray Vaughan, Brad?
I think even people that aren't blues fans appreciate Stevie Ray Vaughan for what his contribution to music. Unless they've never heard of him before. That's the only reason why they wouldn't.
Well, it kind of, kick-started what I would call modern blues. So people like Philip Sace and, there's a clear line from Stevie Ray Vaughan to Philip Sace, and that style of playing, the rhythm lead style of playing that, I think he pioneered, moved it forward, and other people have taken it on from there.
100%. I mean, I think it was very important for a lot of blues artists all the way through the 90s, almost brought blues back a little bit with Gary Moore in the early 90s, in my opinion. I think they're both responsible for a resurge of blues music because it was getting a bit blurred, if I remember rightly.
Well, here in New Zealand, Stevie Ray Vaughan was the instigator of blues in the mainstream, with that first album, Cold Shot. You know, that was it. There was no blues in New Zealand. If you were listening to blues, it was because it wasn't played anywhere. So God bless Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, I just saw John's comment about my reverse headstock Strat here. Yes, I'm trying to confuse everyone, John.
And Susan just pointed out that Neil Sedaka just died.
Yeah, I read
Neil
that.
Sedaka. Yeah. Just thank you for that, Susan. Yeah. There we are. 86.
And thanks for becoming a channel member too, Susan. Appreciate it.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks, Susan. That's fantastic.
All right, Brad, you want to kick it off, bro?
Well, obviously I've got a lot of information that I've gathered about his gear and whatnot, but I think we'll go through the tracks and see how we go for time, guys. I mean, I think gear orientated stuff could be almost a whole episode on its own, Andrew and Simon. I mean, it's a pretty big, wide. Although he did use predominantly pretty basic gear when it comes down to it. So, but we'll go to the track by track analysis and deep dive into the track rankings. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so the first track, Say What, and it's a fiery instrumental that opens up the album. It's got a real rhythmic blues phrasing and dynamic guitar interplay. I think it came out, from the information I've read, it came out of a late night jam inspired Jimi Hendrix's Rainy Day Dream Away. They were playing until 7 a.m. in the morning, and that group became the foundation and the phrases that ended up being Soul to Soul. And it obviously became the album title. And the wah Stevie's using on it is actually once belonged to Hendrix, which his older brother Jimmy had swapped with the Guitar God in 1968 when his band opened for the Experience. Musically, it's fast tempo, stinging, aggressive guitar lines, call and response sort of stuff going on. The band locks in really tight. The groove, it's like locked in precision. It's amazing. It's a showcase here in this particular track, a showcase for Stevie's fretboard command. He's got metronome-like rhythm guitar playing, in my opinion. He's one of the all-time greats of rhythm guitar, not only lead guitar. And this is a wonderful example of that, and a wonderful example of that chewy wah sound that he absolutely, adored, that Hendrix wah tone. And it's dripping in this song. And he also has an impeccable wah technique. There's lots of different ways to use a wah, and I think he really uses it amazingly in this track. There's a lot of fast pentatonic runs, chromatic sort of stuff. His bending is very dynamic, and there's some very rapid pick attack. Interestingly, I will highlight he used to use his pick with the fat end of instead of using the pointy end, he'd use the fat end, so that he'd have that pretty predominantly out instead of using it like that. And I think you can really hear it on this track, is the reason I'm sort of highlighting that. The rhythm section, I mean, Tommy and Chris are incredible on this. Tommy Shannon and Chris Layton, they lock in. It's punchy. It's a real swinging rhythm foundation. It's bright. It's raw. Stevie Ray Vaughan's driving Strat. You can really hear that single coil sparkle, amp saturation as well. And there's some wonderful, organ there from Reese as well. It sets the tone for the whole album immediately. It's a powerful blues rock energy with a totally live feel, and the little vocal chants at the end, the soul to soul, dun, soul to soul, dun. For me, it's a remarkable opening track, and I gave it 100 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. I love it. Who's next? Simon.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, I say write some more lyrics. Stop messing about.
Yeah.
It's no, but you're right. I mean, the first thing to say is an instrumental opener, bold, but and I would say having approached this that it's a lot more jazzy than I thought it was going to be. A lot more jazz influences, all the way through. The drums, bass playing, I think, is fantastic. And very kind of jazz, got a very jazzy runs, not, clearly it's kind of got walking bass stuff as well, but that, it goes a lot of the places that I associate with jazz playing, bass playing, from a jazz background. Fantastic. I think the organ's really good. I think it really adds something. Reese Winans really adds something to the band. It's away from the 3-piece, and there's quite a lot of keyboard stuff in here in the background, backing things up. But the other is that he is a lot more kind of with those long held notes that he bends as well. It's not just blasting playing. He's leaning into particular notes and holding them for quite a long time, which and then there's a more recognizable, I would call a more recognizable solo later on in the track, and as you say, the back singing the title of the album, not the title of the song, but the title of the album. It's plenty of energy, I think, and as I say, it's got that jazzy feel, and it swings really well as well. I think that the rhythm section, can't speak too highly of the rhythm section, their ability to swing, because it's really important in this sort of stuff. I gave it an 8 out of 10, but not a skip. Andrew.
Thanks, guys, for what you've said, and obviously it's always cool to see what people are saying in the chat. So Susan's talking about the weather in New York being shitty, and hopefully you get summer soon. So yeah, it's always good to talk about the weather, because guess what? When you're not talking about the weather, Brad, you're talking about music.
That's it. Weather and music.
Yeah, you got it, bro. Beats politics, trust me.
Yes. It's not going down that path.
No, okay, all right. Look, one thing I want to remind folks of, when you went and bought this album and you brought it back and you dropped it on your turntable and you were listening to this, there was nothing sounding like this track in 1985, Simon. There was nothing, there was no track like the nearest that you were going to get something that was sounding like this was Jimi Hendrix, from the you'd have to go deep diving to find anything. And I remember being blown away by this with me and some of my friends going, what the heck is this? The way that he was just writing that wah, Brad, it's just incredible. It's just a musical performance in itself. And John's made some kind of comment in the chat by saying, it doesn't matter what the wah was or what gear he was using. He was always going to make it sound explosive. I agree. The fact that there is, a story there where he's, linking back to playing something that one of the greatest wah players ever, Simon, used, is just extra special to the story, isn't it? And that's the kind of stuff that we like, and obviously it mattered to Stevie Ray Vaughan at the time. It was just incendiary. It was explosive.
Yeah.
And I just, again, Brad, I think it's probably been 18 months since I heard this track, and I remember, listening to it for this for this show, going, holy cow. I was blown away by it back then. I've been blown away by it every time I've heard it. I too, Brad, have given this a Brad score. I think it's incredible. And just imagine listening to this track in 1985, Simon, and thinking, holy cow, what's coming next? Wow. It's never a skip.
The other person that came up in that was Miles Davis. Miles Davis has started doing electric as Mike Stern. Is it Mike Stern? I've been playing with him. And if you've heard any mid that period Miles Davis, it's not a million miles from this, because he has a million miles. Instrumentation is clearly he's got a trumpet, but the sort of bass, drums, keyboards, and guitar bit that he was using in this period. So I did have a sort of a bit of a link back to Miles Davis.
There you go. What did you give it, Andrew? 100.
Yes.
So we've got a few mixed reviews there, which is good. I love it. 10 out of 10 from Jim. 8.
Yep.
8 out of 10 for Simon. 8 out of 10 for John. That's good. Still,
John and I are on the same wavelength, at least.
Yeah. I think I'm a bit biased towards anything
That's
to do with the wah pedal and Stevie Ray Vaughan. So for me. But the next track, guys, is Looking Out the Window, and it's a medium tempo sort of blues vocal track with a bit of soul infection in it. I believe that Chris Layton, the drummer, and Doyle Bramhall literally shared the kit on this one. One on snare and ride and the other on the hi-hat. And it's kind of scrappy, creative energy that's defined on this record, obviously. Incredible bass playing on it and drumming. Musically, groove built off a strong blues shuffle, smaller but effective sort of harmonic palette that leans into R&B a little bit. Saxophone complements Stevie's guitar licks, and it's sort of deepening that soulful texture. Reese Winans' keyboard colors elevate the arrangement a little bit from the trio format that we're used to with Stevie Ray Vaughan. And, Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar is warm and round here. There's some tasteful fills. There's some great lead sort of playing there. Incredible blues vocal, though, from Stevie. But I gave it an 8 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Simon?
I have a complaint to make, right? Okay, the whole album is in E flat. Okay, he's detuned his guitar half so. Stop that now. How can you play along if you've got to detune your bloody guitar? I mean, honestly.
Well, that's where you need multiple guitars, Simon. You can tune them all different.
2 points.
Just like Andrew tuned Open E the other day, and he was probably jamming along to the Allman Brothers.
Opening is fine because it's still an E, but you start wandering off a semitone. No, stop that now. Get back to where you should be.
That's just to encourage guitar players to go buy more guitars, Simon. That's all.
Right, yeah. Encourage me to be cross. Having to play everything in E flat. I mean, honestly, who invented that? But yeah, it's all right. It's fine. So again, it's a shuffle, isn't it? It goes into a sort of, plenty of power shuffle, much more kind of trademark Stevie Ray Vaughan with that trademark rhythm guitar, the combination rhythm and lead stuff that he does like nobody else, instantly recognizable. As you said, but some sax and horns on it. That's interesting, which I couldn't find any reference to who they might be, but I presume they were real people, not Reese on the keyboards. I don't think they're keyboards. No. So that's pretty cool. So as you say, gives it that kind of R&B vibe, old school R&B, not the stuff from now. But sort of a Otis Redding type R&B. Again, great swing from the rhythm section. They really are magnificent. They know exactly how to play it and things. And so they, again, I think that 248. 8 out of 10 from me, never a skip. Andrew?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. This track always reminded me, there's parts of the song that always sounds like Key to the Highway, that Eric Clapton and Derek and the Dominoes famously did on the Layla album. And you know, that's not a bad thing. You know, it's blues after all. You know, so it's you know, there are always going to be what you call comparisons or connections or interweavings to other songs, and that's great. I always liked the song, Brad. Stevie Ray sounds pretty good. I too have given this an 8 out of 10. And I remember sort of thinking, you know, back in the day, oh, okay. After listening to the first track, you know, yeah, this was okay. Not being blown away by it. And you know, I'm going to sort of say that's pretty much how I felt after listening to it a couple of times this week, Simon. Never a skip though.
No. It's it was in my opinion, a bit of a lukewarm second track. I'll put it that way.
You got it.
So the third track, guys, Look at Little Sister, and I've always loved pretty much every single live version of this, and again, I love this track. It's a cover of a Hank Bollard's tune, I believe. It's a swing blues rock number driven by that strong rhythm guitar. There's some, you know, horn textures in there, straightforward but compelling. It nods to classic R&B, you know, with 60s Texas guitar twist. I'll put here just to,
well done.
Just to twist my tongue around. The sax presence gives it a retro but vibrant feel, paired with Winans' piano work that pushes the track. It's groove laden, incredible bass and drums from Tommy and Chris. I feel like I'm going to probably repeat myself a lot when it comes to those two, because they're probably, in my opinion, one of the greatest blues rhythm sections of all time. Incredible blues vocal and phrasing by Stevie. He's got a great vocal tone, and you know, I'm going to repeat this as the tracks go on as well. Great blues playing from Stevie. His solo builds beautifully in this one, and I honestly believe this is worthy of a 10 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Simon?
Yeah, it's again, it's got that, you know, I think he sings really well on this. I think, you know, it's getting his voice together on this, great swinging drums and that walking bass that really give it an identity. As you say, Brad, they're a magnificent blues rock rhythm section. I mean, absolutely. I've been having a bit of fun. Have you come across a channel called Morning, Tony? Have you come across a channel called Drumming?
He's got a hangover. He's got a nasty hangover.
Nursing a hangover. Something hangover and nursing. Anyway. I've been
thank you for nursing the hangover enough to pop on and say hi to us.
Yeah.
Waking up at 7 o'clock, throat dry, mouth like the bottom of a Badgie's cage.
Yeah. I know what that. I remember those days. Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Back to work.
Oh no, it's fine. I've been immersing myself in this channel called Drummio, where they get drummers they play them a song that they don't know. They take the drums off and they get a drummer to play along with the drums. It's absolutely fascinating to see. So, you know, they'll get a young drummer in who's never heard John Bonham. You know, and they got a guy in to do Achilles' Last Stand. Which is amazing. And but that thing about, you start to realize if you watch videos that getting that swing into things is really difficult. Actually, where you play on the beat is, you know, where you play just a little bit behind just to make it swing is really difficult. And I noticed that modern drummers really, they have a tendency to play on the beat. They kind of lessen the swing because it's on the beat. I'm clear they're playing on something. So, but yeah, so, you know, it's that tremendous drums that really swing, and that walking bass that enhances all of that is, he's really great, and I think it really props up these tracks on this album. Great piano from Reese Winans. Who doesn't like blues piano? Nobody. Everyone likes blues piano, and it's again a kind of sax solo as well to kind of break it up. So clearly looking at dynamics, introducing different instruments, keys, sax playing, things. Although I don't think you have any sax on any of the other tracks, but that's all right. It's I think there's much more of a typical kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan solo in this track than there was on the last one. Nice stop-start section with cool piano as well. 8.5 out of 10 from me. Never a skip.
Just before you start, Andrew, who said they're going to see Epic? Was it the Elvis thing? I'm just looking back in the
Tony's going. Yeah.
It's sensational. That's all I'm going to tell you. Sensational.
Giant Elvis with a hangover.
Tony, yeah, no, it's sensational. Go and see it. Over to you, Andrew. Sorry for an interruption.
No dramas. I'm glad you mentioned the live versions, Brad, in your conversation about the song, because the live versions capture, obviously a lot. And that's one of the great things about Stevie Ray Vaughan and his recordings. We have the studio albums, which are incredible, but his interpretation of these songs live just takes it to another level. And I kind of prefer the live versions to this to this album on the track. But what's interesting about this track was always the saxophone solo, and then it breaks into the guitar solo, which I always loved that. I thought that was clever and smart, because we got that obviously from the Stones. I was used to that, going from the saxophone into the guitar, and to hear Stevie sort of do that, oh yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. Love the boogie woogie piano, and obviously Reese goes onto the live album and the album after this, and has a bigger part to play. But you can see why that's important, because it just gives this recorded version of the song just so much more to sit on, and I like that. Always loved this song. I've given this a 10 out of 10 too, Brad. But do go and check out the live versions, which are all Brad scores. But I do like this, and Stevie's sounding really, really good. Makes up for the last song, Brad, in my opinion. Brad.
100%. Yeah. So the next track, fourth track in, Ain't Gonna Give Up on Love. One of Stevie Ray Vaughan's most expressive vocal and guitar performances on the album. Soulful, introspective, and blues. Slow tempo blues with lyrical phrasing. There's a lot of emotive bends here. Tense. It's got that tension with the chord progression. The organ pads and the subtle fills support the emotional core. Stevie's solos here are very lyrical rather than flash orientated. He's really playing the blues, and this shows his growth as a songwriter and interpreter of deep blues, in my opinion. Some incredible stinging blues guitar soloing. Stevie has really become his own at this point in his career as a guitar player. We all know his influences, but I think on this track in particular, what surprised me this week, listening to it over and over and over again this week, is how clear and clean the tone is. And I highly doubt he's actually activating his TS, tube screamer, or fuzz or anything in this song. It's all guitar and amp. Which that alone is worth 100 out of 10. But the playing in it is incredible. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the best tracks on the album, and it's one of Stevie's, most incredible slow blues songs. And the live versions of this, that they're all incredible. There's, versions of it that you see him, his eyes, they roll back in his head when he's playing the solos, and he's really transfixed. It's almost like he's not playing, it's being channeled by somewhere else. And I love that. So obviously I've given my score already, 100 out of 10. Incredible bass and drums as well from Tommy and Chris. So I have to note that. That was, the last little note I made here. 100 out of 10 and never a skip, guys. Simon.
Yeah, slow blues in 6/8 time. Absolute classic, fourth track, 6/8 time, classic blues booth. Lots of prominent organ, I think, is, on this with the bass drums. That slow walking bass, steady drums, subtle organ, really. He sings very soulfully, clearly, so means a lot to him. And has that kind of really nice call and response, with himself kind of thing. So he sings, then he plays and sings, that's great, really, and he has a style all of his own to do that. So I think he's fantastic doing that. Lovely bluesy feel on the solo, 3 or 4. I mean, he's pristine, as you said, pristine. This is kind of the age of this is the digital age, isn't it? Coming in, where the instruments, there's a lot of separation with instruments, and it's you can hear them all and stuff, and so the age of the CD kind of thing is coming in. So I feel there's a bit of that sort of digital, reproduction. It sounds fantastic, and I think it's one of the best tracks on the album too. I gave it 9.5 out of 10. Never a skip.
Ooh, that's almost a timeout, Simon. Sorry.
It's not.
I'm sorry.
Listen,
sorry.
If Lenny is at 100 out of 10, see, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I guess I don't really try to rank it against other albums, but
no, I'm joking.
Still, it's a pretty. Anyway, over to you, Andrew. Before I time out, Simon.
I'd have to listen to it for longer to kind of to get the sort of classic nature of it in my head. So right now, Brad, after a week, it's only 9.5.
Even John said he's never heard less than a 10 out of 10 version of this.
Well, there we are. You've never heard it, but I have, John.
Andrew.
Anyway, Andrew, sorry.
No problem. Susan, we're here this time every week. If you want to join us, we're
yes.
we go
3 o'clock in the morning. Wow.
Yeah. So that's not. This is the home time of the channel. If you want to join us, that's the best I can do for you. It's in the evening for us and in the morning for Simon. It's the best time we could find.
Yeah.
Well, this is Texas Slow Blues, isn't it? It's just an incredible song. Brad, I don't know what the amp is. Is it the Super Reverb or is it that Dumble that he bought? I don't know.
Bit of a hybrid. I believe it's probably a little bit of a hybrid there, Andrew. Probably just a few amps cranked.
Yeah, definitely. I just think it's an incredible track. I love the playing, the tone. It's just amazing. I can't think of anything other than saying that for me, this when I heard this, and again, all versions, and I have to agree with John. Some of those live versions, the version where he's in Japan, he plays this in Japan where he's got his eyes rolled back. Brad,
yeah,
is that the on the DVD?
Yeah.
It's just an incredible.
There's a few versions I've seen. I think it's just a thing when he kicks into that solo, he's channeling something different to any of the rest of us.
And for me, this is one of those definitive Stratocaster tone songs. We do a lot of shows here on the channel. Late last year, we did a show, Stratocaster Masters, and we picked 3 guys, and Stevie Ray Vaughan was one of them, and we spoke about why we loved that Stratocaster tone. And it's appeal to a lot of people who aren't even guitar players, just love, what it can do and how incredible that instrument is, slightly overdriven or with a pedal or an overdrive Simon. And then you get a guy like Stevie Ray Vaughan playing it extremely loud and delicately, and then just, coming through playing it naturally. It's just an incredible lesson. I've given it a Brad score. I think it's one of the best songs on the album. And I also love Tommy's bass too. He just supports Stevie Ray Vaughan so much on so many songs. And he doesn't do a lot on this track, but he's just there, supporting his band leader. Brad?
Yeah, I agree, Andrew. So we're up to the 5th track. It's a little instrumental. It's a short instrumental. It's got a jazzy feel to it as well, with a complex but lighter arrangement than the previous, few songs. The groove is less rocking. It leans towards jazz. There's a bit of a modal feel there. There's some really exploratory playing going on. At times it's like a jam, but it's pretty tight at the same time. No vocals, focused on group interplay, especially between the guitar and the organ. There's a great solo from Reese there. Some jazz-like soloing from Stevie Ray Vaughan. Still with a real blues feel, but he's leaning a little bit more jazzy and sassy there. Amazing rhythm section work here. Incredible bass playing and drumming from Tommy and Chris. Fantastic interplay within the whole band. And for that reason and that reason alone, I gave it 9 out of 10 and never a skip. Simon?
Yeah, instrumental bookends the side.
Yeah.
You have starting instrumental, and this is an instrumental at the end of the first side, which is an interesting way of doing things. I like the guitar. And is it keys that sound like sort of marimbas playing at the beginning? Don't think it's real marimbas, but that's really cool. That's a really cool different thing. And then into kind of swing, as you said, swinging jazz blues song, really. And really nice jazz bass over the drum rolls that Chris Slayton is laying down. It was just fantastic. Again, fantastic bass playing. I was really taken with the bass playing on this record. I think it's absolutely top notch. Very jazzy solo, very unlike Stevie Ray to play that kind of jazzy solo. And then you've got the organ solos as well, very Jimmy Smith. I felt a real Jimmy Smith vibe to it. And then back to another guitar solo, but still jazzy, but with blues inflections. Really great. I really like this. 8.5 out of 10 from me. Never a skip. Andrew?
Thanks for that. Susan, we haven't seen Johnny Bean for a while. We kind of do our own thing over here, and Johnny's doing his own thing, and we wish him well. But thanks for asking the question.
Yeah, I've been here for years.
Brad, I have to thank you for picking this album for us, because I hadn't heard this track for a long, long time, and I was blown away by this track. This put a lot of things into perspective for me with this album and where these guys were going and what these guys wanted to do at this time. You've mentioned the keys, Simon. You've mentioned the jazziness and the jazz inflections or the jazz influence that comes through on this track is solely determined by the groove that you get from Tommy. You go and check out Paul Chambers' bass playing on Kinda Blue with Miles Davis.
Yeah.
And listen to what Paul is doing. And this, Tommy Shannon is doing the same thing on this track. It's incredible. I've never heard him play anything like this in my mind. You got to think that I've been listening to this for about 4 or 5 days, guys, and I can't think of, because normally, Tommy, he's so good at playing passing notes. He can do those walking bass lines, Simon. That's what makes him so great. You know, and he learnt that from obviously hanging around with Johnny Winter and even back further. But I had no idea that these guys, and then obviously when you hear that and make that connection and you listen to what Stevie's doing, you go, oh, wow, this is incredible. Very sophisticated track. And it would have been really cool to see what they would have done, you know, with this, you know, later on. But, you know, clearly they didn't continue this. But there was enough there for me to go, wow. You know, I would have given this, Brad, probably on my first listening, I would have probably ranked it 7 or 8 out of 10. But I'm going to give it a solid point and say 9 out of 10. And it's definitely Simon, you know, definitely influenced by that kind of blue Paul Chambers bass playing. Go and check it out and tell me I'm a liar.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I completely understand what you're talking about. Kind of Blue is anybody who doesn't know Kind of Blue, go and listen to it immediately. It is a complete classic jazz rock record. Fantastic record. Yeah. And now is about the right time to listen to it. Sort of early morning, late evening, early morning.
Yeah. Andrew, I don't know if you've got any photos you want to show. I don't know if you got the photos I sent through, or if you got something you want to show, or would now be a good time, or you want to come back to it next track?
Hold on, bro.
What do you want to do?
Hold on, bro. Hold on. I got those pics that you flicked through. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, where are we? Where are we? Here we go. Right. So there's the album.
Yeah.
What did you think of the album, guys, when it came out? I'd be interested, Brad.
Well, for me, the album, I went backwards for this one. So for me, I mean, it didn't seem like, you know, like Couldn't Stand the Weather was a very strong album. So to follow up that with this one kind of didn't feel like it quite hit the mark for me initially, but it's grown on me, this album, and that's why I picked it, because I was listening to it a couple of weeks ago and I found myself in between listening to other things while ranking, Andrew, that I was putting this on just to break it up, and it's really grown on me, this particular album. You know, just I understand the backstory of Stevie Ray Vaughan and you know, his struggles with you know, his addictions and stuff, and where he got to, and you know, the next album being In Step was a big move forward as well. And I just, you know, this album really grew on me, and I kind of dig the album cover too, the barn in the background, the timber everywhere, Stevie Ray Vaughan with the, you know, 335. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought the album cover was interesting that he's got a 335, because you know, you never associate Stevie with the 335. It's you know, always a Stratocaster. I always thought, you know, that was interesting, and that's deliberately, I think, Stevie being a little bit confrontational, maybe. I don't know, Simon.
Nice matching shirt and shoes. There is good. Red shoes.
It was all stylish.
Cool. But no, see, that struck me as well, Andrew. That I mean, I can't tell if any of the stuff on here is a 335, to be honest, but I always associate him with the Strat. Everything on here that I could identify says Stratocaster.
Yeah.
None of it, to me, none of it says 335. So
no.
Yes, to be a little contrary is never a bad thing. But yes, there didn't seem to be a guitar he played much on this.
Yeah, that's just an example of the wall of amps that he used to use live, and in the studio, I think he used pretty predominantly exactly the same thing. He never really did the, you know, I'll try this. I mean, I think that's an earlier setup that he used. Maybe in Couldn't Stand the Weather. You can see that it's incredible.
Don't you love the fact it looks like he's dragged it off a rubbish heap somewhere?
Yeah, it's all, you know, and there's Fenders, Dumbles, and there's Marshall in there as well. So, you know, we know that he was predominantly, but his Fenders, I must note, his Fenders were tweaked. They weren't straight stock Fenders, his
No.
amplifiers. And that's more of a live setup. I think that would be predominantly a live setup.
Even his Dumble was tweaked.
Exactly, and all these amp setups were probably experimental for him in the studio as well. That's why I thought I would highlight the differences he used. And you can see it there in the studio. He's got a few Fender amps, and he's obviously probably got them mind-blowingly cranked.
And they'll all be 10s. They'll all be at 10.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot with Fender amps, and they sound very thin until you turn them up. And that's a well-known thing with Fenders, and that's why you see a lot of blues guys using low-powered Fender amps so they can really push them to get the sweet spot. But I thought that'd be a good photo, Andrew, to show of his number one guitar, but his limited pedals he used to use. I mean, it looks like a lot, but it's not. They're just evenly spaced out, and you know,
looks
what I
like
mean?
three on one side, a power supply, and 2 on the other. Looks like 5 pedals to me.
So predominantly in the studio, and you know, ain't going to give up on love. Like I said, he doesn't kick in a tube screamer or anything. It's just a cranked amp and a Stratocaster, and for me that's genius to be able to play like that and just rely heavily on your hands. A lot of people.
Susan.
Yeah. Good night, Susan.
Did he have the tube screamer on all the time?
No, he used it as a boost predominantly, Simon. It's a, you know, there's we've had a few Stevie Ray Vaughan experts on the channel in the past. Andrew, Nick 70 will be one that would be his channel. You can go and reference it. We might try and highlight that in the comments section later, Andrew, or something.
He's been on the channel with us. Yep.
He's got a lot of stuff on his channel in relation to Stevie Ray Vaughan and his setup. And the tube screamer was predominantly used for when he boosts to solo, or he's really wanted to drive the amp a bit harder. It wasn't necessarily always activated, Simon. It was the level would be pushed a lot more than the actual drive itself would be more level, and it would thicken up the tone, a bit more sustained, and that predominantly. But there's some really good reference points on Nick 70's channel, so we might highlight that at some point. And a bit of a shout out to Nick as well. He's a really cool dude. So, and a Stevie Ray Vaughan buff. I'll say he plays pretty cool. Stevie Ray Vaughan. What do you reckon, Andrew? He's pretty darn good for the Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff. So,
there's a multitude of videos on his channel where he goes through, offers of advice, opinions, a bit like us, and a lot of playing too. So go and check it. And he's been on our channel. So we'll link it. We'll link it if you haven't seen it already. In fact, when you guys are talking, I might put a link into his channel right now.
Yeah, cool. And he's an ultra cool dude. So, but yeah, Simon, live he used to use like a little bit more under his feet there, but predominantly in the studio, I think he just used to play what you're hearing.
Loud.
You know what I mean? There's a tube loud, predominantly very loud. Obviously, in the studio, it was cranked that loud that they had to isolate other musicians. They couldn't play where his amps were. It was too loud. So you can imagine his hearing was probably compromised at some point too. You know what I mean?
Although you think about the mid 80s, there was a way less pedals around then, weren't there? I mean, he's clearly not using a chorus pedal. He's clearly probably using maybe a bit of digital delay, bit of bounce in there. But there's clearly no heavy fuzzes and no heavy overdrive pedals or anything like that. So those pedals must have been used pretty subtly. Whatever, as you say, plug straight in. That's what it sounds like. Doesn't sound like there's much bit of reverb and but not much else going on in terms of effects on it.
No, bit of studio.
No chorus.
Yeah. So guys, we'll get into the next track. It's a song called "Change It," and this one is written by Doyle Bramhall, and it's a high energy blues rock track. And I emphasize blues rock because it's got a bit of a fiery drive to it, injects a little bit of drive into the record, in my opinion, as well. It's a great example of Stevie Ray Vaughan's rock swagger. His rhythm section in this are really in tune with the urgency of the song. The guitar, it's a bit crunchier on this one, but still articulate. There's some snappy sort of rhythm punch, but I love his bending and he's got the bends, from a lot of his influences, but to me, it still sounds like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Everyone draws to his influences and they say, oh, he sounds like Albert King, he sounds like this, sounds like that, but I still reckon he sounds like Stevie Ray Vaughan to me. There's there is some real tube screamer magic on this with the Stratocaster. It's a darker vibe. It's got a lot of chunk to the song. Incredible bass and drums again from Tommy and Chris, and I reckon it's a great opening track for the second side. I gave it a 9 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Simon.
Yeah, as you said, it's very much a kind of rock thing, this one, isn't it? It's got huge drums, chugging guitars. The bass starts playing root notes on this, and not, it's not doing those jazz runs, not even those walking blues stuff. It's very kind of rooted in the root notes. Yes, anyway, that. Again, great swinging drums, organ on this, soulful vocals, absolutely, sing. Great solo, great feel, great flow on it and stuff. And again, later on, you've got the corner response with the vocals, Stevie playing back and forth with his guitar and him, which is great, and a solo to end. Really strong opener to side 2. I think that maybe you could have considered opening side 1 with it, to be honest.
Yeah,
because it's got a lot of drive, hasn't it? A lot of energy, but it's not what I would call a blues rock song, but it's a blues rock song, not a blues song, really. But much to recommend it. The song, I gave it a 9 out of 10 and never a skip. Andrew.
Thanks, guys. I've just put the link to the video that Brad and I did with Nick 5 years ago here on the channel.
5 years ago.
Go and check it out. I haven't changed at all, but Brad, go and have a look at Brad with his long black hair.
And his eyes are blue. With your long black hair and your eyes are blue. The only thing I ever got from you was sorrow.
Listen, a lot of people say that I bring sorrow to their life. So yeah,
a lot of people. We've got them lining up.
There's a big line up at the front door. Believe me. Yeah.
I'll bet there is.
We're talking about Change It, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We
So
are.
Simon, that was the big song here in New Zealand. This was the lead single off the album that was played here on the radio here in New Zealand. So you guys have to remember when the first album came out in 84, 85, Stevie Ray Vaughan had a huge following here in New Zealand. So he was a big major player. So this album was pushed at radio, on at record stores. There were big posters everywhere, and this was the lead single. And they've picked it rightly so, because it sounds like a radio song, which is not necessarily a bad thing. We've always talked about that before on the channel. I've always loved the song. It's a powerful message, powerful playing, Brad. And I love, always love this line, me and my backdoor moves ain't no more. It's just, it's just like, so when you listen to it now, you sort of get this appreciation that maybe he was trying to sort of can that life he was leading back then, Brad. You know what I mean? He was maybe sort of realizing, you know, in some of these songs, I need to can it. God bless him that he did eventually.
Yeah.
Always loved the song. They still play it today on the radio. I've given this a Brad score. I think it's a great song, great track to open up side 2. And I agree with you, Simon. If they'd opened this up on side 1, it would have been even better. And maybe put the solo, the instrumental that they open with side 1 on side 2. Would have been perhaps just made the track listings a little bit better.
Yeah. I don't think I'd open side 1 with an instrumental. Well, unless it's an instrumental album, but I kind of feel like I understand that it gives, you know, the one he does gives a, you know, a good indication of what the album's going to be like. But I don't know. I think I would have gone with this as an open of side 1 if I'd been tracking it. What do I know?
I
Nothing.
Not often we would muck around with track listings, but you know, it's something maybe I would think about doing. Brad,
I tend to agree a little bit, but yeah, let's we can't change it, so we'll move on.
Can't change it.
Can't change it. It is what it is.
You can always start with side 2 and work backwards.
Backdoor man can't change it.
You can always make a playlist and do it your own way. So how's that?
Oh.
Next track is a song called "You'll Be Mine," and it's a Willie Dixon cover, and it leans heavily on classic blues sensibility, and it's got a shuffle groove.
Mm-hmm.
The vocals sit, you know, deeply in the pocket of this one, and the organ and guitar sort of weaving around each other. The soloing, Stevie's phrasing here balances between melodic blues licks and tasteful, you know, sort of intensity. The highlights is his rhythmic lead stylings, including a lot of double stops and, you know, that sort of more rhythmical lead guitar instead of it being a lot of notes, you know, using inversions and whatnot. Strong vocal delivery and a killer solo I'll put here, and a 9 out of 10 and never a skip. Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. An old Willie Dixon song. So going back to the deep blues thing, originally done by Howling Wolf. Mm-hmm. So, you know, digging back into the, as I say, the deep blues past and kind of digging up some deep cuts. Not a song I'm familiar with from Howling Wolf, but particularly as I started off, typical full-on Stevie, you know, rhythm guitar part, great bass and drums back in, as you said, it's got that kind of shuffle feel to it, and you know, these guys can lay down a shuffle all day and make it swing. Fantastic. You've got a really nice rhythm guitar and singing and a call and response in the verses, which I think is really cool. Nice kind of rock and roll solo, kind of mixing double stops and blues runs in the solo, which is great. Passionate singing, definitely passionate singing. You know, he's you feel what he's singing, Stevie, absolutely. And a really nice second solo to end the track. You know, sharp, brisk, bouncy, energetic track. 9 out of 10 from me, never a skip. Absolute anthem.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. It's always good when you see somebody reinterpret a blues classic. You know, we've been listening to guys doing it for a long, long time. You know, Eric Clapton built a career on it. Jimmy Page, you know, a lot of guys, Brad, built careers on interpreting, you know, these great Chicago blues and Delta blues guys. And, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan's just one in a line. So good on him. I enjoy this particular version. One thing, though, you got to remember, and the Rock Professor mentioned it earlier, I've just made a note here, you know, this band's got swing. This band can swing, you know. Any band that can do Texas shuffle beats for hours on end must have swing, because you know that is a timing thing. You know, these guys know all about timing, Simon, to the core. And this is another good example of how that band just does it second nature. You know, you get together with a couple of guys, even on a blues jam, you know, and you just know when, you know, when someone just can't get the timing, when, you know, or you're slowing up or you're slow. It's just, you know, sometimes it pisses you off, you know. You know, Brad, you're in a band, you're gigging regularly, you know. You know, sometimes, you know, you must pick up, you know what I'm saying? It just, sometimes it just upsets you. And then when you listen to a track like these guys here, just pulling it off. So I agree with you, Simon. You've made a note earlier about, you know, this band being able to, you know, sit back and groove. I think we got to remember that. So thank you for highlighting that. I'll give this an 8 out of 10, Brad. I wouldn't skip it, but, you know, it's a good interpretation of a blues song that's a bit of a filler.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I agree. The next track, guys, Empty Arms. Not my favorite version of this. There's better versions floating around, and yeah, that's I'll get to my rankings because I don't want to say too much more than that. It's quite a pace on this record, slower in tempo and blues rooted. It's said Stevie actually played drums on it, and they kept his take. The tempo was so slow they had to speed it up by 13.5% with a very speed just to make it sit right. It's that raw. It's not polished. It's not a student perfection, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. There's some nice playing on top of it, focused on emotional phrasing. You know, great piano and guitar interplay, cool solo, like a smooth lead guitar. Change of pace on the album. Not my favorite song on the album, probably the weakest one on the album, in my opinion. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. I'm sorry to say, any Stevie Ray Vaughan fans, I'm not knocking Stevie Ray Vaughan. It just doesn't really hit the mark for me, this version of it. There's much better versions of it that he recorded, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. Simon.
Yeah, so this is what I would call a filler more than the last one, to be honest. As a as a track, that's interesting what you say about the drums. I've only made one comment about the drums, as a sort of really about them. Really, I just, you know, I didn't make any comments about them at all, and I have done on all the previous tracks. I think, you know, so clearly with Stevie Ray playing it, I've noticed the difference subconsciously, if nothing else. But you know, it's, again, he sings really well. He's got a nice bluesy controlled solo, nice piano accompaniment as well from Reese Winans. But as you say, fella, from me, I wouldn't skip it because I think it's a bit of fun. But 7 out of 10 from me.
No, definitely wouldn't skip it.
No, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't skip it either, guys, and I agree with you. It's you know, there's a couple of good things about the track. You know, it's the intro solo is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's delicate playing. You know, and we like that. You know, you know, a bit of a shuffle going on there. You know, you know, I have to agree with what Brad's saying too. You know, there are, you know, and we don't like doing this, comparing songs on albums to other versions, but sometimes, you know, it's good to point these out if you're coming to this album fresh, if you're watching on a replay, and, you know, we get a couple of hundred people watching our videos, up to a couple of hundred people. So, you know, go and check out some live versions if you haven't already. Because you get a real appreciation then of the delicateness that Stevie is trying to incorporate in this track, Brad, that probably doesn't work, but it's there on this track, enough to sort of, you know, I think point your interest somewhere else. I agree with you. You know, this is, you know, a fuller track. to me, following on from the previous one. And, and that's not bad. It's not a bad thing, because not every track can be perfect, Simon. We're not ranking Sticky Fingers, are we? Or Led Zeppelin 1 or Led Zeppelin 2, are we?
No.
We're ranking now what we know is that difficult third album. And so a couple of these tracks kind of point to that direction, Simon, that you introduced us to in your intro. So, yeah, I'll give this, Brad, 8 out of 10. But I get where you're going, brother. I get where you're going.
Yeah.
But it's never a skip.
Definitely never a skip. I don't think I'd skip anything Stevie Ray Vaughan, but that's just me.
No. No.
Next track from what I ranked 6.5 to perfection, with Come On Part 3. It's a cover of an Earl King's classic with a real soul rock swagger to it. It's got some expressive and explosive guitar solos in this. It's a robust syncopated shuffle, and it allows Stevie to, put his raw guitar energy on top of it. It's a strong mid-range and gritty blues tone he's got here, but still articulate as Stevie Ray Vaughan is always articulate. There's some definite Hendrix vibes here. He's leaning quite heavily on the Jimi Hendrix version of this song. I think, forgive me if I'm incorrect, from Electric Ladyland. Yep. And it's a real thick groove that the rhythm section put down here. It's the bass and drums are impeccable. Tommy and Chris shine on this track, in my opinion. Actually, I've written down here that they're one of the highlights of this track for me, other than Stevie Ray Vaughan's singing and incredible guitar solo. There's a section of the solo where Stevie leans heavily on his wah pedal, and I have to say, not many people could play a wah pedal like Stevie Ray Vaughan. He took it to another level. I don't know if people even listen to it, like I do with the people using the wahs. But some people overuse a wah. He used it more as an expression pedal than as a treble, sort of flat to treble sort of thing. He used it to express what he was playing. And there's some players that emulate Stevie, but he was probably the best at using a wah pedal, in my opinion. This, I have to agree with Jim here, strong as Jimmy's version. Nothing can ever outshine Jimi Hendrix. We're not trying to compare, but I give it 100 out of 10 and never a skip, guys. It's an absolute ball-tearing version of Come On, Simon.
Yeah, it's a really picks up the pace, doesn't it? You think, I feel like this could have gone further up the list. But yes, indeed, let the good times roll. Fantastic, great rhythm and lead work together. In that, you got the stop-start verse that he does, and I think this is, the longest track on the album. So he gets a real chance to let loose on some of the solos, and I think that's really great. Second to last track, you're really letting loose on stuff. As he's wah-wah. He doesn't seem to move it very much, does he? Just moves it just a little bit. It's not. No. That's not what I would do. Flapping it around like a flounder in a Force 10. It's just kind of, which I think
it's
great.
Like about expressioning the note. And a lot of players do it, but Stevie does it, or did it next level, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, I agree. Yeah,
it becomes a subtlety thing, not outrageous. Press it from one extreme to the other, which is what I would be doing.
I see a wah pedal as like a third instrument, like you got your hands and guitar, and then the wah pedal is a third thing,
It's a very vocal instrument as well, isn't it?
It
humanises. As you said, great drumming, great bass playing. We're back to the great bass playing because the boys are back. Really anchoring it down and letting Stevie let loose on lead guitar, and then that combination of lead and rhythm that he does so well, and great solo at the end. right, passionate, sparky playing that you associate with Stevie. 10 out of 10 from me. Never skip. It's a really great version of this great track. Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah, this is the album that I got that a good mate of mine introduced me to Stevie. Sorry to, oh my lord, Jimi Hendrix's version. You know, I remember having a conversation. He's, vividly. Have you heard Jimi Hendrix's version? No. So we listened, and I remember being disappointed that I didn't know, Jimi Hendrix's version. And Jim's made a great comment here. As strong as Jimmy's version, I have to agree. Jimmy, and we're going to be talking about Jimi Hendrix a little bit further later on. Just his influence is undeniable on a lot of these guitar players. And I loved Stevie's version, and it's just a powerhouse, isn't it, Simon? It just drives you forward. It's got all those ingredients that that you love, and maybe they should have pushed this one further up on the track too, Simon. I agree with you.
Second song should have been.
Yeah. 100%. I totally agree with you. That they should have done it. Always been a favorite. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. It's just great. It's fantastic. I love the tone. The tone's incredible. The band are in sync. I can't add more than what you guys have said. It's a worthy version of Jimi Hendrix. Never a skip though. Oh, Brad score too.
I was just about to say, what are you going to bloody rank it? And again, Simon, sorry to bring it up, it debunks the second last song theory you've got.
Oh, yes, yeah, well and truly, yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Look, if you want to check this out, look, I can't show the front cover of this. Not on here. That's
oh yes.
You're not catching me out like that.
No. Yes. No, don't show it.
Can't show that. Oh no, we can't show that.
You show it to us in the green room.
I'm sure you've. Have you not got a copy of it, Brad? Everyone's got a copy of it, surely.
I'm joking. I do. We're up to the official final track on the album, Life Without You, and it's a closing ballad. It's got a reflective feel to it. It's one of the record's most emotive performances on. It's a song that Stevie Ray Vaughan penned. He wrote it, and he wrote it like a prayer. I think it's the emotional heart of the album for me. Stevie wrote it for Charlie Wirtz, his friend, who was a guitar builder who passed away earlier that year that they recorded. He was apparently scared to sing this one because it was so personal to Stevie. You can hear the vulnerability, in the singing. I think there's a real emotional driven vocal there. The key changes, the slow build, the Hendrix-like bold as love whine at the start of the solo. It's grief poured through his Stratocaster when he's soloing. Musically, it's got some deep chord voicings, soulful vocal delivery. His vocal delivery is outstanding on this. I have to say it proves that he was more than just a guitar master. He was a full-blown lead singer, and he had the chops to prove it. And this song really shows the delicate side to his voice, and you can hear him being vulnerable in it. The solo, the guitar work first leans heavily on that lead rhythm stylings similar to Hendrix's Little Wing and Wing Cries Mary, and you can actually hear a little nod to Hendrix in amongst his playing here, especially some of the Wing Cries Mary stuff that he does in there. The solo is all heart. He digs deep. It's mesmerizing. He used to stretch his song out live and talk openly and personally to the crowd, which obviously, also backs up that proved his vulnerability. The song obviously meant a lot to Stevie, and I think it's a very thoughtful closer, and it contrasts sharply to the record's opening song, the intensity of the first song. I personally think it's probably the best track on the album. Is it positioned correctly on the album? I think so. I think it's a song that really nothing else can follow it.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it 100 out of 10, guys, and never skip. Simon?
Yes, it's a beautiful, slow, soulful ballad, isn't it? It's a real sort of calming it down, end of side 2 kind of track. As I've sort of made the same notes as Hugh, really. Is it beautiful, clean guitar playing, just with cymbals and stuff, just to keep bit of keys, very steady bass, nothing too flashed. Everyone's, just laying into the vibe of the track and holding it down. Nobody's being, nice. When they do the vocals, the organ comes in behind with the bass and drums and stuff with the vocals. Great melodic singing, it's as you've said, fantastic. Great guitar accompaniment as well, and I too made note of that clean guitar, Hugh, absolutely, and a lovely soaring solo at the end with tremendous feel in it, and a beautiful fade out, and I think by that solo, that second solo from 3 minutes on, it's just fantastic. 10 out of 10 for me, never a skip. Great way to finish the album. I think it's, for me, some of the strongest songs are on the end of side 2, interestingly.
Yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah, I agree. It's an incredible song. I listened to the song many, many times through the year, lots and lots of times. It's one of the defining Stevie Ray Vaughan songs. Brad, you said it all. It's his vocals, the guitar playing, the nod to his heroes. Simon, you've said it, the guitar solos, the way that he brings that crunch into that guitar solo. It's just a little bit different from, the lead playing that he's playing through the rest of the song. His vocals. Brad, it is a prayer. It's and then when you listen to this album, knowing what you know, and you finish the song, you realize, my gosh, it's no wonder. And then you go and listen to Live Alive, which is chaos on wheels, but it's a great live album. You can understand why they had to go and do what they had to do as a band, because there are calls for help. And how many times have we heard over the years where musicians themselves have nodded to songs or albums that they've done, Simon, and said, well, that song was a call to help. John Lennon, famously did it, when he wrote Help. He said that was literally a call for help.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get that kind of feeling, when I listen to this song from Stevie Ray Vaughan. I just think it's incredible. I have to agree with all the comments in the chat. Sorry, John, that the ex-wife had to call and draw you away from us. You could have said, look, ring back. You could have said that. She's the ex-wife now, so you could get away with shit like that, bro.
Never a good idea. Never a good idea.
I just read. Sorry, I won't interrupt you, Andrew. Keep going.
It's okay. What did you read, bro?
John's comment there. He listened to it on repeat when his childhood dog Shadow died. And the picture he painted when he said that when the solo starts, always see the clouds part at that moment. I think that's exactly probably the image that Stevie Ray Vaughan was probably trying to portray when he lifted the point of that song into the solo, because he has a little sort of verbal, like vocal thing there lyrically, and then he leads into the solo, and beautifully put, John. I think we all attach this song, because we're the people that are familiar with the song, attach it to someone who's passed in your life, whether it be an animal or a friend or whatever. I always think of one of my good friends that is no longer with us when I hear this song as well. Sorry to cut you off, Andrew.
No, it's all good. It's all good, bro. How old were you, John, when Shadow passed away? Please be interested.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I love it. I love the track, and I too have given. I've given this. Is he in the chat? Yes, he is. I've given this a huge score. I absolutely love this song. One of my favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan songs. And then it just gets better, Brad, because we're not finished.
No, well, we're gonna, as you mentioned, Andrew, the one of the re-releases of this album had a few bonuses on it. I think it was the 1999-2000 release of the album on CD, had a little wing into Third Stone from the Sun and Slip, Slide and Slim. But he interestingly talks a little bit about Hendrix and his influence on him. Did you want me to talk about that quickly, Andrew? Is that
talk about that quickly? Yeah. I didn't rank that. But,
I'm not ranking it, but I just thought, very interesting how they put that there, and then they put his, live version of Little Wing, Third Stone from the Sun after it.
Really well.
Yeah, he talks about Hendrix's technique, and he talks heavily about the tone and the touch, and how that technique of the light and shade sort of thing. He talks about manic depression, how it's a modern day waltz. He starts sort of playing a little bit of Castles Made of Sand, and talks about how that's inventive. These whammy bar, or wang bar, he calls it, approach to the guitar. But he also talks about the soft touch, clear tones that opened up harmonically and opened the doors. He took things further and trying to grow spiritually through music. And he reckons that basically Hendrix stretched all the boundaries for him. And that covers pretty much what he talks about. And I think it leads really well into Little Wing. And that's why I wanted to talk about that, Andrew, if that's okay. Sorry about that if people didn't want to hear that, but I thought it was pretty important to talk about that.
Oh, pertains. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the track that we sort of want to really rank, or Andrew was really keen to rank, was Little Wing into Third Stone, Third Son from the Stone. And where are we? I've got my notes here. Third Stone from the Sun. It's an incredible live version of this song. It highlights all the techniques that he learned from Hendrix and made his own. It's delicate and brilliant, and then it absolutely becomes punishing as well. There's some really dynamic guitar playing on it, and the rhythm section is so locked in. Like Tommy and Chris are so focused on where Stevie's going that it's almost like every live performance, they almost were like one together. The three of them, they knew each other so well. They just locked in. There was a phenomenal chemistry. And I had to keep sort of reminding myself that this is an actual live recording. It's not, tracked or anything like that. It's a live recording. And, there's a few recordings going around of Stevie Ray Vaughan doing Little Wing, but this one has the tail end of the Third Stone from the Sun on it. And it leads into it where he does the sort of the chordal thing at the start of Castles Made of Sand. And it's got that psychedelic real lead into Third Stone. and there's so much going on there. There's, you know, wah pedal, there's real psychedelic, typical Hendrix stuff going on. And I love the, you know, I mean, the Hendrix version it's got the real Wes Montgomery sort of octave approach to playing that. And Stevie uses that, but he also, you know, takes it a little bit further as well. Not saying it's better, but I love Stevie's interpretation of Hendrix. And I love how Stevie still put himself into it. And I think that's always the mark of a great artist, where they can play a cover version or pay homage to a song that is very important to them, but still put a little bit of their own flavor into it, not replicate it 100%. Some people will disagree with me on that, but I think it's important for an artist, especially if you're, you know, playing predominantly original music and you're playing someone else's song, it's good to put your own stamp on it. Andrew and Simon, it has to be 100 out of 10 and never a skip for me. Simon.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. I mean, the first, as you said, Brad, the first half is Little Wing, you know, and that's a fantastic display of guitar virtuosity, you know, feel, passion, and how to play. I mean, it's beautifully melodic. We should say it's an instrumental, by the way. It's not, you know, it's not. It's it doesn't have no singing on it, but you know, the phrasing of the guitar is fantastic. The whammy bar, you know, the swoops and stuff, absolutely controlled, beautifully played and stuff. And then, as you say, you've got sort of about 5 minutes. Does he have a rotor sound on the guitar? It sounds like it sort of switches on a sort of rotor sound on it. I don't know if that's true. It just seems to get sort of a wobble on the guitar. I was going to ask you whether I'm imagining it or not.
No, it does. Yeah. It's got like probably a Leslie effect. You probably had the Leslie effect.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Lovely, but you know, really good, really subtle, but you know, changes the sound. And then you've got the sort of the transition to what I've called the feedback section. You know, and then he plays the third stone melody, and he plays the melody. I'm sure he's playing it with one hand, isn't he? He's just running his hand up and down the neck on the thing. He's not using his right hand at all, which is cool. I have to say that, as you've said, the second half is very kind of psychedelic, impressionistic, loads of feedback, quiet, loud dynamics, and great slabs of sound and things. It's you know, very kind of experimental vibe. So I'm dividing my score up into two. I've got the first 7 minutes is 100 out of 10. The second 6 minutes, 4, and you could skip it with pleasure. Well, you've got to be in a mood for all that kind of, you know, the kind of impressionistic feedback stuff. You know, I listened to it twice, and the second time I was thinking, that's quite enough of that. I'm gonna, you know, I would pretty much all of the time, I would skip it after. I'd go, yeah, I know what this is, and yeah, I've heard other stuff like that. You know, when you've heard Lou Reed's Metal Machine music, you know, it's you skip it all with great pleasure. It's if you've never heard it, don't go and listen to it, by the way. But so yeah, for me, 100 out of 10 the first 7 minutes. The second 4 out of 10, and probably a skip, unless I'm in a really interesting experimental mood. Yeah. Off with my head, Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with you, Simon. Look, you know, go and check out the bonus tracks for sure. You know, and you definitely have to be, as Simon said, in the mood for that kind of music. But check it out, because as Brad said in his introduction, you know, there's a homage being played there by by Stevie back to Jimmy, and that's really important, that relationship from these guys. And you know, again, in 1985, maybe a lot of people weren't getting that, you know, or 86 or 87, you know, But with this repackaging, you kind of got it. And I would urge everyone to go and check it out. But the real gift for us musically, the real gift, the standout will always be Little Wing. It's just an incredible interpretation of a great song. We've had the pleasure on this channel to talk about Jimi Hendrix's version, Derek and the Dominoes version, which is just incredible on the Layla album, Simon and Brad. I think the three of us have ranked that huge scores, and then, to get an opportunity to share some time talking with you and the fine people in the chat about one of the greatest instrumental tracks ever recorded by a shit hot band. It's just amazing. I think I stop what I'm doing when this song comes on the radio, because it gets played on the radio sometimes. I listened to this song many times, Brad and Simon, during the year. I just think it's a credible example of what that Stratocaster sound is, Brad, that we adore, and we've spent hours talking about on this channel, Simon, over the years. A Stratocaster and a Marshall and a Fender amp and what you can do with it. And we'll never get sick and tired of talking about that. I just think it's really, really powerful. I'm blown away by it. Could be, it's one of my favorite songs ever, Brad. I have to give this a huge score. I think it's incredible, and the fact that we've taken some time to even acknowledge it. Normally, we don't do that, folks. When we do the album rankings, we don't incorporate the re-releases, but we've broken a channel rule, Brad.
No, we have.
Vent it.
Can I just share with you guys? I've mentioned it a couple of times before in the past, but I have to share with you. Years and years ago, I was with a group of guys, and there was a guy that was hanging around with us at the time, and he was half boozed, and he said, "Give me your guitar." So I gave him my guitar. It was a Strat, and he proceeded to play Stevie Ray Vaughan's version of Little Wing, and there was about 10 or 15 people, making noise, but doing stuff. And when this guy just busted into it, it's incredible when you witness it. Everyone just stopped and watched this guy who we would have thought, if you judge books by the cover, was just this deadbeat degenerate, that you wouldn't have given 5 minutes to. And he did one of the best versions in my life of this song. And that had an influence in me, because I just thought, well, again, Simon, we were taught never to judge books by the cover, eh?
No, you're quite right. Well, it's how often has that been said? That somebody's first impression of you've got to get past it. I know from for my job, that's the art of it. Is you've got to get past things to get to the what somebody's really like and who they really are. Oh yes.
Yeah. And I was just blown away that that this guy played this song. Brad, I've seen you play it. On videos as well. There was a live video stream where you played a version of it years ago. So I think if anyone can play this song, you're doing pretty well. I love it. Thank you, Brad, for giving us an opportunity to talk about the song in particular. I love this song. I think about a lot of people in my life that have passed away, and it's just one of those songs that does that for me. I think it's an incredible song.
Fantastic.
And there's one other track. I don't know if you wanted to rank that one, guys. I didn't put a lot of comments, a lot of notes down about the last track, Slip, Slide and Slim, but I just put a Sliding Frenzy with a Leslie activated, and I gave it's a short song. I think it was like probably studio jam as a warm up or something like that. I dare say. I didn't rank it, but I thought, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not bad.
Yeah, nice
Go and
side
check
play.
it out.
It's pretty cool side play. Yeah.
Never a
Yeah.
skip though. I mean, it's only a minute and something. It's
A minute and 42.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's cool to hear that Leslie speaker sort of going with slide. I think that was a pretty cool combo.
Yeah, it's not bad. Go and check it out. Yeah. That's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10. Definitely 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew,
Thank you, Brad, for picking a great album, and I think Hugh's right there. You know, what do you say? Rank the album well, fellas. Fair all-round score. Thank you, Hugh.
Yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate that.
So we may be back next week doing a chat about Paul McCartney.
Yes.
It's definitely on Amazon Prime. I checked whilst we were talking. It's definitely on there.
Cool,
so, Brad. If you can get access to it.
Yep. I'll see what I can do, and I'll manage to get it for sure. 100%.
Cool.
I want to see it. So yeah, I want to see it. So yeah.
Who's got the next album pick? Simon.
It's you.
Me.
Because I picked the Muddy Waters one last week.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Okay, I'll talk to you boys about
that. Well, that's all right. Next two we got McCartney and something you could pick, Andrew.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll do McCartney, and I'll talk to you guys about another album.
Yeah.
Cool.
No
well, thank you, Brad. So is there anything that you want to say, Brad, before we get the Rock Professor to wind up and say goodbye? Because I know that I'm looking at the time, bro. It's 2 hours, and I know you got dinner time coming up.
Yeah, no. That's all. Look, I just think my final thoughts on Soul to Soul. You know, we're all sort of probably on the same wavelength, which is, you know, the three of us and everyone in the chat here. I just hope everyone that watches this and gets to this point agree with us that it's an essential listening for players, guitar players out there, and blues fans, you know, who want to explore Stevie Ray Vaughan's tonal choices and improvisational stuff. And, you know, I think it's just a great sort of expansion in sound for him as well, beyond the trio format. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. But thank you for letting me pick this album. I've really enjoyed deep diving and ranking this one. It's been great.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's really interesting to get into it. You know, not an album I've known, so it's really great to get into that. So thanks for picking it.
That's why we love doing these things.
That's the fun of it, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cool. So I'll say goodbye to everyone in the chat. John said D351 in his prawn windows. No idea what that is.
It's an Australian thing.
Prawn windows, yeah. Oh, nice. Hugh Caldwell. Hugh, great to see you. Thanks so much. All great comments. Let's see. We're going to have to wind up a bit further up. Good. Susan as well. Susan, thanks for Jim, just under 50. Have a good day, Jim. Take care. Thanks for joining. Who else we got? We've got Aaron Davidson, new name to me. So, Aaron, thanks for joining, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Let me see, Arvin, of course, Arvin. Nice to see you, Arvin. I hope you're good in the frozen north of Canada. I don't know if you. Yes, got Susan. We've got Johnny Heartbreaker at the top, and Greg Zeppelin as well. Hope we sent you off to sleep, Greg.
Probably did.
Yeah, Tony as well. Tony Bone with his hangover. Put it under your arm, Tony. Curate it. Oh dear. I think that's everybody who made comments. So thanks everyone who joined. Great to see you, and we'll be back next week with something else. Whether it's McCartney, or
No, it is McCartney.
something else. We don't know. Well, it will be McCartney. Okay,
Yeah.
McCartney next week and Alvin the week after.
Yeah.
Have a great week, everyone. Take care. Take
Peace
it away,
out.
Bob.